All right, so just give me 1 second. I want to
Sure
make
thing, sure
sure
thing.
we are live.
Okay.
Okay. Hmm. My Facebook is glitching at the moment. Hmm. All right. All right. Looks like we're good to go. So today we are here with
Sounds good.
Kira Yasufu, one of my favorite telekinetics out there. Just a fantastic individual and an amazing martial artist as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tira. You recently got your brown belt. Am I correct on that? In BJJ?
In Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, yes, yes, yes.
That's amazing. And I hate to ask people's age, but how old are you?
Oh, too old
Be
to
doing this
say,
stuff.
but too young to know better. I'm 51.
51 and you got your brown belt. Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, that's just incredible. Guy kind of goes to show the power of energy practice and stuff like that, and like keeps you young and
Exactly,
stuff.
exactly,
Yeah, all
exactly.
this kind of stuff.
Age is only a number if you make it a number. But
That's
if you
amazing.
train your mind and your body and your way of life, then it's you age how you're prepared to age.
That is amazing. That's so fantastic. So Tira, let's get straight into it. How did your spiritual journey and telekinesis journey begin?
Whew. um, it's a very long story. It starts in my childhood, basically. I think that's the common thread with most people. It starts when you're a child. Certain things happen, and for me, where shall I begin? Um, I'll give you the short version, and then I'll go into detail.
Okay.
So the short version is, as a child, certain things happened to me, or I did certain things, and over time, as I grew up, I met certain people who showed me or taught me certain things. And as an adult, I sort of connected my adult experiences to my childhood experiences and eventually decided to investigate what it is I had experienced and what I was feeling and what I had read and what I had come across. And so in the last few years, maybe 2 to 3 years, I've been more into the whole realm of energy practice, telekinesis, meditation. Now, that's the short version. The long version is I started meditating probably when I was a teenager, maybe 13, 12, 13, which is ironically roughly when I started martial arts.
Mm.
And when I would meditate, certain things would happen. I would get, images in my head. I would hear it. I would see things happening in other places. I would just feel people's thoughts. That was a big one. I could almost literally read people's minds, right?
Wow.
And I traveled a lot. I've been all over the world. And one thing that was constant with me was I was always the new kid wherever I was. So I was always moving from school to school, from country to country. And once I discovered meditation, it was a way for me to calm my mind at first. But then more things started happening: astral travel, psychokinesis or telekinesis, mostly
Wow.
by accident. By accident. And eventually, I would accidentally do some things telekinetically, and I would wonder, did I do that? Was that an accident? Was that coincidence? And eventually, I moved to America. I met someone who was very well versed in all these energy abilities, and she taught me a lot about the ways of the force, so to speak. And so that's when I really began practicing more. Um, but my more recent development, we all evolve, right? We all practice, we all train. Those of us who do anyway. My more recent development came after she passed away, and I started to think about the things that she told me. And that's when I started looking more on YouTube and Facebook and social media for people who were into the same sort of things. And I had a lot of books on Buddhism and meditation, and I would meditate. And eventually, I came across people like you and other folks who were into the same things that we all do. And that's when I decided, well, since there are people around me that I now speak to, kind of, I would like to make it a consistent thing that I do regularly. So that's when I started practicing more, meditating more, and training more on a regular basis, and just kind of focusing more on the energy and spiritual aspect. And that's kind of the journey that I've been for the last 2 years or so.
Interesting.
Thank you.
I am echoing.
That's okay.
Yeah. Interesting. So one of the most impressive demos that I've seen from you is like the foam roller, and also was it an empty gallon? Those two.
Empty. Yes.
I mean, it's like
they're empty.
It's one thing if you're close to it and you're waving your hands. There's a lot of those kinds of demos. Not that impressive, quite honestly. But it's one thing to knock it over clearly from a distance. That impressed me.
Yes.
Like, how long did it take for you to get to that point, to that level of development for you?
I would say within about 6 months. Wow. I think I did that within 6 months of steady practice. Again, like I said, I've had these abilities all my life, but I never practiced them. Everyone has these abilities. It's honestly strange to me to hear people ask me to teach them telekinesis. Teach me how to move things with my mind. And I'm like, well, you already can. It's already there.
Right. So, I get kind of when people ask me. So,
it's a strange thing to respond to. I sometimes don't even know how to respond. But the short answer is I had been training with the easy methods, the chi spinning, the foil, the paper, all that stuff. And when people would ask me questions, I would always tell them what my spirit told me, my energy told me, like, you have to step up. You have to practice like you're exercising, like you're training in a sport or martial art. You're lifting weights. You want to get stronger. So how do you get stronger? You try something more difficult. And that's what I did with the foam roller and all these things. I like everyone else, because everyone I talk to says, I'm bored chi spinning. I'm bored with the foil. I'm bored with the paper. And I say, then move on to something heavier. It's not going to work the first time. It's not going to work the second time. But one day it will. And that's how I progressed. So when I told people that advice, I said, I'm going to take my own advice. And I just started trying to move things that are bigger and heavier and further away. And that's basically how I progressed. And I made sure that I trained or practiced virtually every day, if not every day, every other day. So even if I only had 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I would do something before I go to bed, just something. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But eventually you develop the confidence, and you realize energy doesn't have to be, you don't have to be up close to that thing. As time goes on, create distance. Distance doesn't exist in the energy world. You're still connected. It's only in the brain or in the mind that we think we have to be close. But once you connect to the atmospheric energy, which you're always connected to, you can transmit that energy to that object, no matter where it is.
Yeah, certainly. That is definitely true. What do you spend more time doing? Like, do you spend more time elevating your energy with meditation before you do telekinesis, or do you actually do the practice itself more? Like, how do you go about doing these things?
I do both. When I I sometimes go by feel. I just go by instinct. Like I could be walking through the park. I go to the park every once in a while. I'm walking through the park and I feel my energy connect to sunlight or the wind or the grass. And I go, I feel energy. Let me do something. And I whip out my phone and I'll, do some aerokinesis or move the trees or move my backpack or whatever it is, just from feel without meditating. But most of the time, my steady practice is usually I take a good 10 to 15 minutes of mind clearing meditation, turn everything off, sit down, and I determine what it is I want to practice today, whether it's aerokinesis or telekinesis or hydrokinesis. I lay out what I want to practice, I meditate for a few minutes, and then I do it. That's usually how I go.
Interesting. What do you like more, the indoor stuff, or do you prefer the outdoor stuff more?
I think I prefer is a difficult one to answer. I've done a lot more indoor stuff than outdoor. So in a way, I guess I find it easier. And I know why you're asking. For those who are watching, indoor and outdoor, the difference is outdoor, you're connected more into nature's energy, the energy field of the environment, the earth. And it's actually a little easier, maybe a lot easier to do things outdoor than it is indoor. So in a way, I like doing indoor more because it's more difficult. When you do it indoors, it's more difficult. Yeah. So to me, that's like lifting heavier weights and then putting the weights down and then running. And you feel it's like a lot easier. So when I go outside, it's much easier. But I like to practice the harder, more difficult stuff because if I do, then I know that I'm improving for sure, especially when I go outside.
Yeah, we definitely think alike in that regard. Do you practice any other metaphysical abilities such as like remote viewing, astral projection, lucid dreaming, and things like that on a regular basis?
I do, but not on a regular basis. My journey that I mentioned earlier actually started with astral projection. In fact, that was what led me to the person who taught me more about telekinesis and astral projection. My real journey really started with astral projection. When I told you I was meditating and I would see things in my head, what I really meant was I was leaving my body, especially when I was sleeping. And when I met her, she taught me to astral project in a very disciplined format. So that was really what started me on the journey. Every now and then I still do that, but telekinesis has really taken over my practice more than anything else.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, we can definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the one thing that I really started with, and I've been occasionally going back, trying to astral travel or astral project once a week. That's my goal, because that's what I used to do. When I used to just train astral travel, I set a day once a week to practice leaving my body and seeing what I could see. It was always very interesting. Remote viewing, I do when I have to. For example, here's my phone, right? I lost this thing in my phone. It's a Galaxy Note phone. Mm-hmm. I lost the pen in my phone about 3 days ago. I didn't know where it was. And because of the confidence that I have in my abilities, I said, I'm going to find this and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to find where this thing is. And it took a while, but I did. It was under my bed. But I knew it was under my bed, and I went and I found it. It was right in the middle under my bed. It had fallen off from my dresser and bounced under my bed. And I looked around my apartment and I couldn't find it. But I knew that if I meditated, I would find it. And that's what I did. And that's where it was. So I've done it with my wallet. I've lost my wallet and my cell phone at airports and all over the place. And instead of panicking, I say, okay, I can use energy to find these things. So the first thing I do is I breathe, I relax, I visualize the end result, which is me retrieving my wallet, my phone, whatever it is I've lost. And one of two things happens. Either someone tells me, hey, I found your wallet, they call me, or I see exactly where it is and I go there and there it is. So that's how to use remote viewing for everyday life.
That's amazing. So it sounds to me like you're doing remote viewing, but you're also doing like manifesting at the same time.
Exactly. Funny you should mention that. One of the things I want to talk about, manifesting. So in this interview, I think the biggest thing I want to give to people is that telekinesis, energy work, psychic abilities are a subset of the biggest thing, which is manifesting. Manifesting to me is the highest level of energy, the highest by far. And telekinesis and psychic abilities, these are all ways to strengthen that ability. There's nothing stronger or bigger in the world than manifesting an event, a place, an occurrence, something, because that's bigger than moving an object. You're changing the entire world by visualizing it how you want it to be. And that event could be something in your life, it could be something worldwide, it could be something in another country. But manifesting is the ultimate goal. I'm saying this because I get a lot of questions from people who say, well, yeah, I can move the paper, or I can move the foil, or I can move the pen, but what use is this in real life? Have you had that where people go, this is useless. I can just move a pen a little bit. What's the point of practicing? I did it for a couple of months and I stopped because it's useless. And I'm like, you've missed the point. The point is we're all divine beings. If you can move a little piece of paper, you can imagine moving a universe in your head. If you can move a universe in your head, you can make an event occur in the real world. It's like a dimensional plane from your thoughts to the universe back to reality. It's a circle. So manifesting is the end result of all this energy work.
That's amazing. So what is your ultimate goal when it comes to energy work and manifesting and telekinesis and stuff like that? What do you want to ultimately be able to accomplish?
Ultimately, I want to have as much knowledge as possible. That's the ultimate answer. As much knowledge as possible. I don't think in terms of abilities, because most people will answer this, and be careful of people who answer this. I want to be able to levitate a mountain. I want to be able to teleport to another country. I want to be able to levitate a car. Wrong answer. The right answer, or the best, I shouldn't say wrong answer. I should say that's a mid-level answer. The highest answer for me is knowledge. Cliche, knowledge is power, right? Knowledge evolves us. The more knowledge we have, everything else comes with it. If you're meant to levitate a mountain, you'll levitate a mountain, but knowledge first, knowledge of everything. We are babies in this universe. We don't know anything. Beware of people and gurus who tell you they know everything. I don't know everything. And I know I don't know everything. The irony is knowing that you don't know everything is a higher form of evolution. So my goal, my ultimate goal, is to get more knowledge about the universe, who we are, why we're here, how to expand our knowledge, our memory, our consciousness, and our relation to the rest of the world, the rest of the people in the world, other worlds, the universe, and existence in general.
That's amazing. That is definitely yeah, you can tell by hearing that kind of answer that you're a really wise person and very mature, and that you're very sincere about your practice and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes I get caught in this loop of like, oh, I just want superpowers. I'm like, becoming a little egotistic. I want to show off and stuff, and I have to kind of like catch myself, like stop, So.
Yes, and me too, and the highest form of evolving is realizing your own shortcomings. When you realize, I'm just doing this, that's the ego talking. I want to be able to, slam doors with my mind and, levitate this and do this. That's the ego talking. There's a level above that. Those things can come and should come, and you should train those things, but not for the sake of ego or showing off, but for the sake of, it's a part of the evolution of expanding your knowledge. When you expand your knowledge, you have evolved. When you evolve, you become a better being. You level up in this cycle of life, reincarnation, whatever you want to call it. Knowledge brings all those things with it, but it's the highest form of goal setting.
That's amazing. So we touched upon BJJ a little bit earlier. You mentioned that you recently got your brown belt. Are you going to go for your black belt, obviously? And when do you
Yes, I am. Whenever my coach gives it to me. But I will always be a martial artist. Martial arts has been in my life for pretty much all my life. I would say I really started training or practicing martial arts probably about the same time I started meditating, probably about 12, 13 years of age. And so it's linked to my energy practice. It's linked to my fitness. It's linked to my health and my mental health. So it's ironic that we're talking about martial arts, energy work, meditation, because I started doing all three regularly again within the last 2-3 years. And I had, when I stopped training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I probably stopped about 12, 13 years ago.
Wow.
Why? Probably because I was just getting lazy, just thinking, I was getting too old for this shit, quote unquote. But in about 2016, I had a very bad injury and I had surgery to fix my leg, and I got a bad infection. When I was done with the injury, I had 7 surgeries to clean out the infection because it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. So I was very sick for about 2 years. And in that time, that's when I sort of went back into the meditation aspect of it, just to try to self-heal and manifest the healing of my leg. And I'll tell you another thing about manifesting. Before my last surgery, I had 7 surgeries in total, and each one, the infection came back. Before the 7th surgery, I sat down. Oh, here it is. I sat down in the in the hospital before the surgery, and I drew on because this is a Galaxy Note tab, right? I'm also an artist, so I drew on my phone what I wanted to happen in that surgery. I drew the end result. I said, after this surgery, I'm going to be able to run, jump, and walk normal again. I literally drew it on here. I meditated on it. I went into the surgery, and that was the last surgery I ever had. And the reason is because they found the source of the infection finally, and they cleaned it out on the last surgery. So after that, I decided, well, first of all, I was very out of shape. I was very, lethargic. And I said, okay, let me get back into shape and work out again. And I started going to the gym. And in fact, some of my videos, you might see me in the gym moving weights. But it wasn't as satisfying as martial arts. And I said, if I really want to get back in shape and enjoy it as much as I used to, I just need to go back to jiu-jitsu. So about 2.5 years ago, I did. And trained regularly.
Sorry. At that point, what belt were you? 2.5 years ago.
I was a purple belt.
Purple.
Yeah,
oh, okay. So
belt.
2.5 years to get your brown belt, maybe another 2 years
Correct.
or so to get your black belt.
I think so. Probably.
That's awesome. I mean, that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones came out of retirement in their 50s. I mean, do you see yourself competing or?
Well, not in mixed martial arts anymore. I did that way back when, but in jiu-jitsu, probably yes. I can see myself competing because I do train. I do train. Yes, in the old man super masters division.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to go with the young guys and try to test yourself and whatnot?
I train with young guys and they give me hell, but I keep up with them. I keep up with them.
Oh, yeah. That's cool, man. That's so cool. Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, what are your aspirations or goals when it comes to competition? Like, do you want to get first place at like Masters World or something, or what?
Maybe not Masters World because I've been out of it for so long. The last time I competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament was probably 2005 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's when the Mundial and stuff like that still existed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you know what's up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
okay, nice. Yeah. Mundials and Copa Pacificas and all those tournaments.
Yeah.
So So my goal isn't to be like, ranked #1 Masters Jiu-Jitsu world champion, but I do want to win a few, at least local tournaments, because it's now part of my life. Martial arts is part of my life. I've done several different martial arts, but jiu-jitsu is the most challenging, for sure. So I definitely want to express that dedication by competing at some point. And I may not even compete, but I'm close to that point where I feel like I can, because the place that I train at,
I would love to see you do it, man.
I'm close, because I've been training with guys who've just competed, and I help them train and they get better. And when they do well, they give me and the rest of the school the props, and all of the students there, and they go, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be this good. And it makes me think, well, thanks. And it puts that idea in my mind that maybe I can still compete. So more likely than not, I will sometime within the next year or so, at least in a local level tournament. But yeah, definitely, if I do, I definitely want to win.
That's so awesome. I can't wait to see you compete. I mean, you train under I can't remember, under the Carlson lineage, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes. Yeah, Carson Gracie, my instructor, my original instructor, passed away from cancer. He was a really close friend of mine. And it's one of the reasons why I stopped training for so long, was because he passed away. But his #1 student, he gave him the school before he passed away, and he has kept up the whole vibe and the traditions of the school. And my instructor, his name was Franco. He was a Carson Gracie black belt. And he gave Troy, our instructor, the school to carry on that legacy. And when I went to visit about 2 years ago, I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised, that a lot of the traditions that Franco had were still in the school. So it was almost like going back in time.
Wow,
and that's what made it easy for me. So it was always easy, the same phone number, same address, same everything, over 20 years in the same spot. So it made it easier for me to go back and just continue training with someone whom I used to train with under our instructor, and he's now the instructor. So it was almost like a family.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it's easy to go back and just be there. It's almost like hanging out, but we work out hard. So I enjoy that.
That's awesome. Any final thoughts, Tira, that you want to share? How about this? What are some we talked about, like people asking us how to start and stuff like that. What is your best advice for people that want to improve upon the skill of telekinesis?
Oh, that's a great question. Best advice is this: telekinesis is a skill. It's a skill, period. It's not we call it an ability, but it's an ability we all have. It's just a dormant ability. Best advice is practice regularly. That's it. Make it a daily part of your life. Watch this. Let me show you. I can show you this, but let me see. This is my living room table, right? Okay. This is my living room table. And there's my little Buddha. But on the table, I have straw pen. I have this guy. So when I'm watching television, what do I do? You see that?
Yeah. Very cool, my friend. That is awesome. It's one thing that I'm impressed by people that can do it live. I mean, I have a hard time doing it like live. I get nervous. I don't want to look like a fool, so it's impressive that you were able to demonstrate.
Thank you. So my point is, always have something around you. Practice every day. Make it a thing. I mean, no matter where I sit, that's my living room. Right next to my chair, I have some other stuff I can just put in front of me and play with. I got foil, I got paper, I got pens, brainwave headset right here. Show you. measuring my brain waves when I'm doing telekinesis.
Oh, that's so cool.
So make it a lifestyle.
Can I ask you a little bit
That's my
about
advice.
Can
Sure.
I ask you a little bit about the brainwaves? Like, does it
Absolutely.
when you're actually doing it? Does it show like a theta or a gamma, or like what happens with your device?
Yes. The device is like a graph on the computer. So that headset connects from Bluetooth to the laptop. So when you're meditating, the relaxed you are, the more alpha and beta waves you have. And when you have a spike in focus or concentration, for example, when doing telekinesis, it actually shows the gamma waves go up real quick and then come back down. So I have a couple of videos that I recorded while doing telekinesis, and it helps me sort of realize that the mind needs to be relaxed before you do telekinesis. But when you're focusing on the object or whatever it is you're doing, you have to have almost universal 100% focus on the goal. So relax, but focus. It's kind of some people find it difficult to do both, but with practice, you'll be able to.
That's amazing. That is so cool. All right. So check out Tira's YouTube channel. It's called Dhirakinesis. I'll probably put it in the comments or something like that.
Dhirakinesis. Yeah. Dhirakinesis, and let's see, it's on YouTube.
Awesome. Okay. All right. That's really cool. Yeah, we'll definitely check out his YouTube channel. It's really awesome. I love looking at his demos and stuff like that. You kind of get to see Tira's evolution as a telekinetic over time and stuff like that, which is cool as well. So thank you so much for this interview, Tira. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's nice to be able to see you again. Let's keep in touch. And you know, one of my goals is to meet you and other people in this field / community in real life. So
yeah, certainly.
you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we
Yes.
can. I mean, I want to get back into BJJ too. Maybe we can go to a tournament together or something. So,
yes, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
So that'd be really cool, man. So, all right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tira, and thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on, thank you. Or sorry, if you're watching on Facebook Live, thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you as well. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep.